I love the sky at night. The dark, the stars going through transition even as we look at them. The moon always revealing itself in new ways. And knowing that there is a sunrise tomorrow. Though there is darkness, light is coming. This Sunday is Epiphany, the day we traditionally remember the three kings coming from the east, following the bright star in the night toward a baby Messiah, bumping into King Herod, who wants to worship the baby, finding Jesus in a manger, offering him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, realizing that Herod actually wants to kill baby Jesus, and going home by another route. Natalie preached a wonderful sermon on this morning. And that's the story of, in the Gospel according to Matthew, that that comes from this text in Isaiah that I just read. This text is situated in a different time, though, a different historical context. It was written about 540 years before Jesus was even born. This was at the end of the Babylonian exile, when the people of Jerusalem first began going home after they had been captive for about 50 years. The Israelites believed that God dwelled in the temple in Jerusalem. In that temple was God's tangible presence. The temple, which was now destroyed, in the city, their homeland, which was now in shambles. In this historical moment, a prophet comes proclaiming, "Arise, shine, for your light has come." Wait, what? I don't see any light. In chapters 58 and 59 of Isaiah, everything is described in terms of doom and gloom. And in Jerusalem, a major conflict was going on between those who remained during exile, who were mostly peasants and small landowners, and those who returned. The people were now divided again, but not against any outside threats, amongst one another. Those people saw their city, Jerusalem, torn apart. Those people saw the exiles and the people who remained as enemies pitted against one another. Those people saw darkness and despair. And here we come to chapter 60. I can just imagine things being all sorts of messed up, and someone coming in and preaching about light that cannot be seen, preaching about the hope that exists through the ruin. Trust me, I have been working on this sermon, and I really struggled with it. I struggled with trying to be authentic and hope-filled, even in the midst of so much heartbreak. So that led me to think about the kinds of initial reactions that these people might have been feeling at that time. And I even asked on Facebook to get some feedback from some of you guys. Actually, nobody here that gave me feedback is in the room right now, but I'm going to read you some of the responses I got. Everything from, "That's nice, but that's not real for me right now, so I need to deal with the facts that are presented before me," to, "Sometimes hope is all you have left," to, "I can't wait. I think I'd be somewhere in the 'that's not real for me right now' realm." Even though these people were home again, I bet they still felt like captives, trapped in darkness. But the prophet is trying to instill a hope that though there is darkness, light is coming. We cannot see the light. The prophet goes on to admit that darkness is covering the earth, but God's light will come. And this light is not just for the people who remained in Jerusalem or for the people who have returned from exile, but for all the nations. So what do we see? People. God sent people. The next generation, the sons and daughters are coming. Kings and peasants. People are coming from far-off lands, bringing their gifts, gold, spices, gems. They're all traveling to this coming light, this hope after all the darkness. I love this part where the prophet paints a picture of God's light shining so brightly that all nations will come, and this light that will stretch the people of Jerusalem so they may receive diversity, that they will receive the other on the way. I can't help but think of Toni Morrison's Playing in the Dark, with all of this talk about darkness and light. It's an essay about race and the lack of African and African American literature in the United States. Morrison says America is supposed to be a place of opportunity, a place where an individual can make a fresh start, and a place where freedom is embraced and celebrated. But it's a place which also accepted the repression, oppression, and binding of hands of many of its inhabitants. In all this talk about darkness and light, I don't think we can help but think about skin color, about race, and what's going on in our current historical context. With everything going on right now, it's hard for me to find words to express what I'm feeling. And God knows I'm a person that does not always choose the best words to articulate my thoughts and feelings. So I'm going to tell you what I see. I see a city, our city, New York, torn apart. I see police and civilians pitted against one another. I see tension around race in America. I see people being killed here in New York, in the United States, and all over the world. But though there is darkness, light is coming. I also see peaceful protesters coming together across races, classes, genders, ages, and not giving up. I see the next generation of leaders emerging. I see people around the world beginning to stand up for the other instead of discriminating against them. Hashtag I'll ride with you. I see people on social media from all nations with signs that say Black Lives Matter. I see in this season of gift giving all kinds of people offering their gifts. Not gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but drive, dedication, and hope. I see the hope of a movement for justice that can change things. And to help me with the words that I cannot seem to find for myself, a quote from Cornel West. I cannot be an optimist, but I am a prisoner of hope. This quote resonates so profoundly with the way I've been feeling over the last few months. I can't be an optimist when I see people being killed. I see the darkness. But what does it mean to be a prisoner of hope? The word prisoner can mean a convict, but it can also mean a captive. A captive of hope? How about captivated by hope? For me, being captivated by hope is the biggest gift of faith, that though there is darkness, light is coming. In Romans 8, Paul writes about hope. He says that it is in hope that we are saved. But he goes on to say, hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. There's a difference between knowing and hoping. Hope recognizes doubt. It comes from an inability to see. So how do we reconcile what we know with what we hope? I see darkness in our world, but I also see a bright star in the sky guiding people coming together, the movement toward justice. I wait in hope for morning to come and the sun to rise. I'm waiting for the day when the abundance of the sea shall be brought to all nations. I hope for it. I live my life for it. And now, to find some more words, I'm going to paraphrase Jay Baker. The difference between believing in something and hoping for something is that when you believe in something unseen, you cannot prove it to anyone, so you insist that you are right, instead of insisting on what is right. When we hope, we concern ourselves with what is right, when we leave ourselves open to other people, to trying to understand them, to working with others, instead of working against each other. In times of darkness, we need to forget about being right and focus on what is right. A few weeks ago, I was on the steps of City Hall with a group of people of all different faiths, putting differences aside and rallying together after the decision not to indict in the Eric Garner case, calling for more than an indictment, but a dismantling of the systems of injustice and cultures of oppression in our city and in our state that don't give everyone an equal chance. It ended in a candlelight vigil. I stood among clergy and lay people, Muslims, Sikhs, Jews, and Christians, praying in silence, candles lit. In dark times, we not only need light, we need to be light for one another. Parker Palmer, in one of his daily meditations, names many kinds of light that we can be. Light that helps people who are lost in the dark find their way. Light of truth-telling that allows us to see what we're doing or what we're allowing to happen. Light of compassion that comforts everything it touches. Light that shows us the way forward for a better world. Since we're all created in God's image, made up of God's light, what if we search within ourselves for the kind of light that we can offer the world? How can we shine? And what if we look to each other as that light that we so desperately need? Middle Church, we are a community full of diversity. Diversity that we can see, dark skin and light skin, young and old, different genders, and diversity that we cannot see, economic classes, belief systems, and even political views. How can we get past differences of beliefs? And instead of focusing on who is right, we focus on what is right. How is God's light shining through the person sitting next to you, showing you something you maybe couldn't see for yourself? Arise, shine, for your light has come. I get it now. It was hard for the people of Jerusalem to feel God's presence in their midst, like it is for many of us today. They couldn't see it, couldn't feel it, and God sent people to them, all kinds of people, and things started changing. The temple was rebuilt. The city was rebuilt. We are not meant to go through dark times alone. And sometimes, when we think we can't feel God's presence, remember that we have God's tangible presence right now. God is at work right now, among us, in us, right here, and right here. Take a look at the people around you. May you be captivated by light, so captivated that you let your light shine. May you be such a prisoner of hope that you see the light shining in every person. Arise, shine. Light is here. May it be so.